Hey, everybody. Deborah Rose, how's it going? Yeah, I figured it is pretty late there for you, Deborah Rose. Good grief. I didn't expect you to be here tonight. So I know it's going to be you way late. But it's all good. I appreciate you being here, though. Seventh Denim, how are you? How are you? Let's see. Rhonda, how you doing? Sister, how you doing? Good to see you here. And Kathleen, good to see you here, sister. Good to see you here. So we'll be getting going here in a minute. I'm just hang here just a little bit. Know my partner in crime is going to be here in a few minutes, so we'll get going. Man, it's a great day today. I got me a bike and I went bike riding today, so I'm not too long getting back. Boy, that was hard. Ooh. I usually can walk 4 miles, 5 miles, but that bike ride today was like, man, that kicked my behind. What's up, Martha? Black Star Beauty, what's going on? Are you working today, Black Star Beauty? Or are you at home? Black Star Beauty stayed on the computer the whole time. Information, how's it going? Trina, how are you doing today? Yeah. B Banks, hello. Candace, how are you doing? Good to see you here. I'm seeing some new faces here today, so I guess this weekday chat is a good thing. So, Voice daughter of mine, how are you? Good to see you here. Jason, how's it going, brother? How's it going? All right. The gang's all here. So, see Jason, Martha, Candace, Deborah, all of those in the class. Elise, how are you doing, sister? Good to see you. Dominique, how are you? Jimmy, how you doing, brother? So Jimmy's another one in the class. Black Star Beauty, you at work again, girl? She said she got it going on like that. So hey, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Let's see, Mickey, how are you? Glad to have you here, Mickey. Mickey says she's been looking forward to this all day. Me too, guys. I have so much fun with you guys here. Y'all ask such great questions. So I really appreciate it. So appreciate you guys being here. I really enjoy it. And let's see, Aka, man, y'all get these names. Akahuta Ah. How are you? Hotep. All right, glad you're here. It says it's new to the channel. David, how's it going, brother? So David's in my class. Good evening. Good evening. B Banks, how are you doing? Yeah, Wednesday night service, B Banks, exactly. Some things never change, huh? DJ Liddy, what's up? All right, let's see. This is Amy Letitia. How are you? Let's see. Yeah, race is definitely a social construct. Absolutely, positively. But it's reality for a lot of us though. It is reality. So, but we can't get hung up on it. Yeah, the Wednesday night service. That's right. That's right. All right, guys. Well, it's 7:05. I want to definitely respect your time. So we're going to get going here. So tonight, let's see, and again, I'm your host. So I'm Reginald Kuakaru, and I'm the founder of Kemetic Centered Living. And my sidekick in chat is my daughter, so Vogue Vibes, the voice she goes by the name. She is the birth chart reader extraordinaire. And this will be a positive experience, guys. So please be kind to everyone in chat and kind to myself and Voice. And if you're not, then you'll be bounced out. But you know, this we have such a great community here and a great group of people. We haven't had to even worry about that. So I so appreciate you guys. I really do. Um, so a lot of times, guys, the chat can get to moving pretty fast. So, and I can't always see the questions. You can use Super Chat to give and pin the question to the top of the window. And then I can see that question. I'll definitely be able to see it. So if I give value to you tonight, some enlightenment, please prime the pump and give back. It would be appreciated. I have a class called the African Mind Rewired that will teach you how to apply the African spiritual science in your life. It will make you more empowered, positive, and happy in your life. Definitely, it changes your life. I also have a course called the African Spirituality Before Christianity, the Ultimate Guide, and it'll break down any misconceptions you have had about Christianity and teach you the ancient African definitions and applications of concepts like the Trinity, sin, prayer, and many more, so that you grow beyond superstitious understandings of these powerful spiritual concepts. So thank you for being here. I'm excited as always to share with you and you with me. Your questions can be about anything, so not just about the topic tonight. And I'll do my best to answer the questions truthfully and succinctly. Okay. So let's get going. So the journey of the soul and really how it relates to race, because I've been getting a lot of people really talking about my idea that this knowledge is for everyone. And I truly believe that, and that's the way I present it. So I present it through my experience. So my experience as a Black man in America is not going to be everybody's experience. Everybody can't relate to exactly what I've been through, but can. But I relate this information through my Christian experience and through me as a Black man here in America. Okay, and a member of the African diaspora worldwide. So this idea is about the journey of the soul. And in ancient Kemet, the soul was the primary entity taught about in their teachings. Okay, so when we're talking about for them, the soul, what the ideas that they taught about was about how the soul entered the world and how the soul acclimated itself to the world and how the soul connected itself to the human body, the human brain, and stuff like that. Okay. So even the story of Jesus in the Bible is literally about the soul's journey and is giving you formulaic information about how the soul expresses itself and powers that the soul might have. Okay. So as a soul, we actually choose to incarnate. Okay. We choose to incarnate in a particular race, family, and culture for the lessons that soul can get from being in that environment. Okay. So you literally choose your parents. We choose the most important people and events in our lives. And like if you end up having a spouse or you meet somebody that's really important to you in your life that help you through things or whatever, you usually have chosen those people to play a certain part. So it's kind of like our lives are kind of analogous to being on a stage play or in a movie. Okay, and we're the actors in that movie, and we are the ones that are set up to be the hero in the movie. Okay, so that's a good analogy of how the soul and our physical life works together. So with that said, we are never victims on this journey. And I know for a lot of Black people, we think a lot of times that we've been cursed, and we accept that teaching from Christianity and the curse of Ham, that we've been cursed and we're being punished for being in really the system of white supremacy and racism and being immersed in that the way that we are. But there are never victims. So we came here as a soul because we have lessons to learn. Okay. So all the major emotional events are set up to help us gain wisdom, to elevate in consciousness as a soul, and to connect to your higher self as a physical being. So our soul, you can think of it kind of like our bodies are to the soul. A lot of times in dream imagery, our bodies are imaged as like a car or some type of a vehicle that our soul is inside of. Okay, so dream imagery, that's what it is. So the soul is driving the car, but the car can sometimes get out of control. and that can be us emotionally, us egotistically. So it's a symbiotic relationship that sometimes the soul, a body can be and a brain can be so emotionally out of control that the soul cannot control it. Okay, this person loses the connection in a sense where they don't know or follow their intuition or anything like that. It could be due to mental illness. It could be due to a lot of things. But sometimes the soul can get to where it can't communicate intuitively with the physical brain. Okay, so that literally can happen. Okay, so as a soul, the most difficult lives are the ones that give us and gain that we gain the most wisdom from. So when you really have a difficult life, that I mean you're getting your behind beat up, quite often, then usually that's the life that you gain the most wisdom from. If you have an easy life, then you really don't go through any trials, because in a sense you gain wisdom through opposites. So in other words, if you want to learn self-love, then you're going to be put in a position to where people don't love you. You're going to be put in a position where you're not appreciated. You're going to be put in a position where you might be put down because of how you look, your skin color, your hair, your race, so stuff like that. So that's kind of the wisdom that, as Black people in this system of white supremacy and racism, that's a lesson for us collectively that we're having to work through. Okay, but the deal is that a lot of times as Black people, we get angry at white people because of the role that they're playing in our stage play. Okay, even the system itself of white supremacy and racism is giving us the opportunity to rise above it. Okay, but a lot of times the way that we as Black people look at it is we want white people to change. And really the idea comes down to our thinking is implied. The implied thinking is that if you change, my life will be better. That's a victim's mentality. Okay, because the victim can only hope the perpetrator will change, because the victim feels powerless. And in this life, from a soul perspective, we are not powerless. We got to remember who we are. Okay, so both of us, race-wise, we're in a dance. Okay, and we both have lessons to learn from each other. All right, so a lot of times what happens with whites is they project their fears onto us. They project their fears about sexuality, their fears about their subconscious, because the dark is the subconscious, the unknown. So that's how we've been treated in a certain way where it's because of their fears. Okay, and we're fearful because we feel like they're trying to annihilate us. But both of us have lessons to learn from each other. Okay, and until we as humanity recognize the victim perpetrator roles and we rise above those, then we're going to keep struggling with this race construct, because it really comes down to there is no race, there's only the human race. So there's no differences in the races. Okay, so as long as we see ourselves as a victim, we won't learn our lessons and we will not advance as a people. All right, so that's what I'm trying to get people to understand here, is that yes, there is a struggle, definitely, but we have to rise above the struggle, and we have to look at it from a soul level perspective, and we have to look at it from the perspective of if you were a soul, or not, if you are a soul that literally lives thousands of lives, and if you live thousands of lives, then you incarnate. It's like being on a roller coaster. When you're on the roller coaster, it might seem kind of scary, you might seem kind of afraid, but from a soul perspective, you're going to get off the roller coaster at some point, and then you'll get on it again, but you'll be in another form, another physical body. Okay, so the fear that you have that's one of the things that all of humanity that we have to work through is those fears and become balanced. Okay, that's the idea of Ma'at, that we become balanced, where we don't let emotions sweep us one way or the other. Okay, so that's really the idea of the soul. So we must see ourselves from a higher perspective, and if we're living thousands of lives, uh, we sometimes we're the good guy, sometimes we're the bad guy. We incarnate as different races. We incarnate as different sexes. Okay, so we don't because as a soul, you have to learn from all perspectives in order to really assimilate the human experience. So, and when I say assimilate, that means getting it to where you're vibrationally at an even keel, to where, like I said, you're not being swept one way or the other. Okay. So again, we're not victims as Black people. We're not victims. We're gods and goddesses, and we have to rise. We have to raise our level of consciousness and raise our level of thinking about how we're going to deal with the race thing. And when it really comes down to it, it's not about changing what's out there. It's about what's change. It's about changing what's in here. Okay, and when we change what's in here, we literally change our consciousness. That information is uploaded to the universal consciousness, and then somebody else can download the information that we've learned, that wisdom that we've learned. We'll get that inspiration, those aha moments. That's how those happen. Okay, so we think that we're going to change somebody out there, but in reality, how change happens is through consciousness and that loop of consciousness. Okay, so so that's it. So we can get to questions that you have, and again, it doesn't have to be necessarily about this topic, but we can but you can ask your questions, and we can get going here. So see, Voishay's been holding it down while I'm talking, so that's a good thing. I appreciate you, my daughter. Let's see here. All right. Let's see. Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see, and let's see. And let's see. No, we're not all the same. Nope, nope. Cassandra Mitchell, how are you? Hey, hey. And Donald, what's going on, my brother? What's going on? Yeah. So Tamara Lewis asked, what about karma? So karma is one of those things that is so grossly misapplied as a concept, because it's like karma in a way is just like really Christian hell. You get punished for something. But in reality, when we're talking about the soul, the Kemetic aspect of the soul that is immersed in the human body is the Osarian or Osirian aspect. Okay, so that's what Osar and Osiris represents, the actual part of the soul that is immersed in the physical body. Well, when you have strong emotional experiences, those experiences are the ones that actually register with the soul, and in Kemetic terms, they said that it actually puts a signature on you. Okay, that it ends up registering to a point to where it travels with you through lifetimes. Okay, so as in the Osirian path, we talk about the cyclical path. Well, if you have had strong emotions, just say, let's say a racist. A racist is emotions that about race. So that person can literally, if they don't reconcile that emotion, then they can literally reincarnate as, say, if that person was white, they could reincarnate as a Black person, because that emotion is going to tie them to that lesson. Okay, so those emotions about being racial and stuff like that, and it's going to tie them to those lessons so they can learn what the other person felt like. Okay, so that's how they would gain wisdom. It's not a punishment. It's to give you the opportunity to see the other perspective. So that's how you would reincarnate in another race. If let's say that you're an abusive man and you're abusive to women, you might incarnate as a woman next time so that you can understand what that woman feels like. the person the soul that was the woman that you abused, y'all might change places. Okay. And that person comes your abuser in the next life. That's how karma works. So it's not a punishment. It's just giving that person another perspective. Let's see. So I heard you said, is it possible to manifest a relationship back after you realize where you were, that you were the one who actually had some things to work on, like self-love and healing and childhood traumas? It's very possible. It's very possible. But again, you guys are in that dance, so y'all are in a dance together, so to speak. So it's possible to have that person back, but it's going to depend on them, and how they view that relationship, what it was like when y'all were together. But most likely, you are going to you're going to send out the wave, so to speak, to somebody else that might connect to you with at the level that you've now grown to. So you're not going to go back necessarily with the old person. You might find a new person where y'all meet up at the same level, relationship wise and soul level. Okay. Yeah, so Nichols Cool Kid says sometimes you don't get your karma during your lifetime. Yeah, and again, it's not so there's not always this you do something and then you're gonna get punished in life. That again, that's kind of like that religious idea that you're gonna, if you don't do good, then you're gonna get punished at some point down the road. That's not necessarily the case. So that's not how it works. Let's see. Yeah, unhealthy attachments can, and Aridmod says unhealthy attachments can cause pain in one's life. Absolutely, and that pain can literally, unless you reconcile it, that pain can literally travel with you through other lifetimes. Okay. Now, there are times that you meet people and that you automatically have an affinity with. They just feel right. A lot of times it's because y'all have incarnated before and y'all had a relationship that was a good one before, in as a soul. So yeah, so the Akashic records. So that's one thing to call it. So that's one thing that's called. So the Akashic records are you have your individual Akashic records, and then you have the planetary Akashic records, then you have the universal Akashic records. So any of those levels you can literally tap into on the Akashic records. Yeah, and energy says that karma is not always bad. Yeah, absolutely. So it's not always bad. See, Akuta says the other races are very new to this planet. How do we reconcile these racial experiences you talk about? Non-African races are artificial, not original. Well, I'm going to disagree with that because consciousness creates. And when the other races are really like a new flavor of consciousness that entered into the world. So everything is conscious, everything has a soul. So there's nothing that's artificial or different. It's just a new flavor of consciousness is what it is. So that's why when certain like animals go extinct on the planet, it's because they've decided as a collective and on their level, they've decided that the quality of life on this planet is not to their liking anymore. So they basically exit. So that consciousness exits the planet. So that's what happens. So new consciousness can create something, and then an old consciousness can exit. So that happens. Oh, shit, this person is this whole time. See, iHeart says, no, for some reason, no matter what I do, no how hard I try, I can't shake this person. What can I do? Man, that's deep. So that would take probably a whole class by itself to even get into stuff like that. But you're probably connected at your root chakra level, and that means that you have to reconcile something at your root chakra and usually the second chakra, because the root chakra is where you get your beliefs, and then the second chakra, the solar plexus chakra, I'm sorry, the sacral chakra is where you individually work through those beliefs within relationships. Okay. Let's see. How do you obtain those records? Let's see. Somebody asked how do you obtain those levels of records? You just set your intentions. So your intentions are like the remote control for your consciousness. So your desire to want to tap into those records will direct your consciousness to where you want it to go. So information says, what's the difference between soul and spirit? That's a good question. So soul is as we use it, is the whole entity that contains spirit. So spirit is the actual essence of the creator that is within all of us. The ancient Egyptians called that the Ba. Okay. But we call the whole entity that is a soul. It contains the Ba, and then the Ka is the container for spirit. So that's individualized. Okay, and then there's of course the light aspect of us, which is the Ak. So there's three aspects of us. So the Ak, the Ba, and the Ka. The way that we use the word soul, it really is so generalized that it doesn't really give us the ability to break down the ideas about the soul the way that the ancient Egyptians did. The ancient Egyptians actually broke down the soul and the body into it's from 7 to 9 parts. But knowing the three, the Aqaba and the Ka, is really, as far as practical application, as long as you understand those three, then you'll be okay. Ray Martin says, how do you obtain those levels of records? Through meditation? Yes, you can do that, Ray, through meditation. Experiences, okay, let's see. Oh, very different. Let's see. As the new consciousness unfolds, how do you think it will affect Black people? And that's how. And Trina asked that. So Trina Hurd asked that as the new consciousness unfolds, and this is where, to me, it gets into how we've been socialized, and I think that religion for us has a negative effect, that when change happens, we're usually caught off guard by the change, because COVID-19 has changed our society forever. Okay, it's changed our worship services. It's changed our economics. It's changed our job, our roles in our jobs. It's changed our education. All those things are changing. So right now, what's going to happen is that AI is really coming into the planet very strong. And AI is going to end up replacing a lot of jobs that are repetitive. Okay, and that can be systematized. And a lot of times, that's the jobs as Black people we have. And that means that we would be affected. But the things that are going to be in demand are things that take human creativity. Okay, because that's one thing that AI cannot duplicate is our ability to create things. Okay, to create art, to create music, to create. So well, they can't create music. I've seen that happen. But the creativity of it, that's an aspect that we're going to have to really take hold of. And as far as Black people are concerned, a lot of times we don't stretch ourselves into creative realms because we are usually taught to conform. We're usually taught that if we're not like everybody else, then something's wrong with us. So that's a lot of the ways that we think. So we get caught off guard when the new changes come into the world, and we have to learn to maneuver. The thing that I believe that will change that is us learning to love and have confidence in ourselves and who we are, and appreciate our own authenticity. And I think religion destroys that for us. With the ideas that you're broken, you're rich, you're nothing without God. We ingest these types of ideas every Sunday. Okay, and if you're thinking like that, then there's no way that you're going to have the confidence to be creative and step out and go against the norm. If you step out and go against the norm, people are going to be telling you, no, you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't step out. What's wrong with you? And if you don't have the confidence to go against that, then you're going to shrink back and conform to whatever they believe. So that's how I think that the coming changes is going to affect Black people. That we have to be more, step into our own authenticity and be more creative and the grain sometimes. Let's see. Yeah, and Voice, you're right. So Voice says for Black people, I think if we shift our consciousness from victims to gods, and truth and introspection are the keys to the new age. Definitely, definitely. Let's see. I can't take it. Like for the elderly. Let's see, and let's see. Created by the Africans in antiquity. Are white people the artificial intelligence created? No, they're another level of consciousness. So another filter. So there's nothing artificial. To me, those ideas like that are basically the same thing that white people did back in the Middle Ages, when they basically said that Black people didn't have a soul, that Black people, they had to justify what they were doing to Black people. And now what we're doing is we're turning it back around, and we're having to justify what they've done to us. And the only reason that we can reason through it, well, I won't say the only reason, but a lot of times the reasons that we use really reverse the same ideas that they did to us. So ultimate sin, true or false. In Christianity, when you kill yourself, that is the ultimate sin, true or false. False. So first of all, sin is a Christian invention. So there's no such thing as a sin, other than there is opposition, and sin is really, the idea is to miss the mark. And if you're thinking about incarnating as a soul, you incarnate to learn certain lessons. If you don't learn those lessons, or you don't go through what you need to learn those lessons, then you miss the mark. And that's really, when you go back to the soul world, that's what they look at to see. Did you accomplish what you set out to do before you incarnated? Okay. So there are, how can I say, there are consequences for suicide, because you end up losing any wisdom or anything that you gain in that life. If you commit suicide, is stripped away from you. And the ancient Egyptians called that the meshkin. And it's literally the skin, or the wisdom and stuff that you've accumulated in that life. Commit suicide, then that part of you is ripped away, and it's like you have to start over again. See, what about Gary Mandrake says, what about communicating with the ancestors and other entities? Should we communicate with them? Sure, why not? Why not? In reality, you are your ancestors. You are the DNA that's been passed down. Okay. think AI will become so complex it will gain its own. That's a good question, and it would. Energy Shift 2020 says, "Do you think AI will become so complex that it will gain its own consciousness?" It would not shock me if that was to happen. It really wouldn't. And a lot of times, the creator looks for new ways to experience. And AI would be another realm or another way to experience. Okay. Do you think AI will take over teaching, coaching, training? Do you think AI will take over teaching, coaching, training, or being a mentor? I don't think it could take over being a mentor, but the coaching and say like athletic training or something like that, those things are just repetitive. And I mean, it could set up training schedules, and you can calculate the diets and all that stuff. So absolutely, AI can. That's something that it could do. So that's a possibility. So I think the potential of that is really limited by our imagination. Let's see. Says, brother, how do you feel about the theory that we need Kemetic spirituality to fill the void that mainstream hip hop and celebrity worship fill in our people when they leave religion? That's a different kind of perspective, but I definitely think that when people leave religion, a lot of times they leave, and it's like there is definitely that void. But if they study the Kemetic spirituality, they can get back to understanding what the ideas meant before religion. So the dogmatic ideas that religion had. So I think Kemetic spirituality can give people a soft landing and actually more pronounced and profound understanding of a lot of these dogmatic religious ideas, like the Christ. So most people think that Jesus Christ is a person and that Christ is a last name. Well, Christ is not. Christ is a title. It's a state of being, and it's a state of being that's a part of all of us. Okay, so those kind of ideas, Kemetic science can give you a better understanding of what that's about. Okay, can I become the same experience and call it? Yeah, Jason, you're right on point. Agreed. So Jason Holmes said we cannot become the same hate we've experienced and call it consciousness. There is only one race, and we're all a part of it. Yeah, you won't solve the problem with the same consciousness that created it. That's impossible. And that's where we have to rise above, and we have to look at this whole dance from a soul level perspective. We have to look at what are we supposed to learn with what's going on, especially as Black people, with white supremacy and racism. And if you really think about it, and I'm thinking about here in America, before before desegregation, our communities were self-sustaining. We had doctors' offices, we had grocery stores, we had restaurants, we had hotels. All these things were in our communities. But desegregation, we fought to go and sit next to white people and sit next in their restaurants and use their toilets and stuff like that. Our communities disintegrated. Our economic wealth disintegrated. So we're in less of a position now than we were during segregation. Now, I'm not saying go back to segregation. I'm saying that we got to learn how, as a people, we have to learn how to create self-sustaining incomes where we're circulating money within our communities, and we don't do that well. Not these days. We don't do that well. Let's see. We're going to different races. This is also Cassandra Mitchell asked an excellent question. She says, if we incarnated as different races, then are my ancestors also of different races? Yes. Our idea of ancestors is very limited when we think that our ancestors are only the black race, okay, or the white race. Now, if you are in this black skin, this consciousness, then you are going the ancestors that were black are going to be more relevant to you. But we've all been different races, different sexes, okay? Hell, we've been different beings on different planets, okay? So yeah. Bentley James says, that's a good question. Bentley James says, is it wrong or against nature to be cremated once you pass? That's what I plan on doing. Save that money, all that casket and stuff like that, put me into the earth and let me go on about my business. Put me in a casket, that's going to take, I don't know, 200, 300 years to break down. No, cremate me so I can be put on the earth, my body. I can fertilize a tree or something. So no, that's my belief about it. So I know a lot of people don't feel the same way. So for me, daughter, when I go, cremate me and y'all save that money. So don't even get a casket and all that. Don't need to view my body and all that. I'm gonna be gone. So let's see. Another country. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Information. So Trina says, people have said over and over again that the information of our ancestors is locked in our DNA. If that's true, is there a way to unlock the information? Yeah, absolutely. And again, first of all, the desire that you have to unlock it, that's the first step. And then second is, I mean, you have to use your imagination to do whatever you feel like you need to do to unlock that information. And sometimes you'll just naturally do whatever it is you need to do for you. And a lot of times we're looking for a certain path or a certain way to have that happen where that path might not work for us, you know? So a lot of this stuff you have to figure out and you have to experiment and do it on your own. And you have to set your intentions for what information you want to learn and what information you want to tap into. Okay, so that's very important. So yes, absolutely. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so Anthony Davis says, "Why can't we take the stolen legacy information and take it to trial? What's stopping? We'll all have the overwhelming information." Question to that, Anthony, is if you take that to trial and you win it, then what? What's next? So, what are you looking for to win the trial? Are you looking for validation? So, for me, I think so often we want white people to validate our experience, and a lot of times they can't because they have their own experience. They're living in their own world. We get mad because they can't see our world the way that we see it, but we don't see their world. So we have to stop getting angry at them because they can't see and validate our experience. That's not their job. Okay? Our job is to validate us. And we have to have the confidence and wherewithal to do that, to validate ourselves. So I don't need to prove that I know that a lot of that information, that knowledge has been stolen and it's been whitewashed. Okay. But when we get the information, then what do we do with it? Okay. How can we apply that knowledge? That's what's more important to me, you know? So whether or not a white person validates my experience, I could care less. They don't have to do it for me. So Scooby Dooby says, thank you for sharing your knowledge and information, brother. I appreciate you. You're welcome. Thank you. Trina says she's going to get cremated too. I heard that. Save the money. People can use that money. Instead of getting all this big pomp and circumstance, man, just I'm telling you, fertilize a tree with my remains. It'll let's back into nature. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I agree, Mark Wilson. Desegregation, he says, is in a way was one of the worst things that happened to us. Economically, definitely. And I don't think that we're ever going to be, I don't think white supremacy and racism is ever going to be overcome as long as we are economically in a position of weakness. And the only way that we're going to stop that nowadays is that we have to start to support each other, and we have to support the things that support us. And a lot of times we don't do that. I don't know how many people come to me in my channel and tell me that what I do, I should just do everything for free. Well, how does that work out for me? If I'm not getting compensated in some kind of way, I'm not going to do this. I mean, I'm a good guy, but realistically, I have bills to pay too. You know, so basically, you're telling me I have to go get a job, and that's the way you want me to support myself, so you can get it for free. But it doesn't work out if we're not supporting each other. You know, and so I'm not saying that to be self-served. I'm saying that there are so many people that are talented in our communities that do things that we need to support those people and circulate that money back into our communities. And until we learn and do that on a consistent basis, we're going to be at an economic disadvantage because we don't trust each other. We look at ourselves, and it's because it's a lack of self-love and self-loathing that we've been taught to have for each other and ourselves. But we think that the stuff that we do should be cheaper, or everybody should give discounts, to hook up, stuff like that. An economy can't be sustained like that. It's not self-sustaining. We have to pull each other up, okay? And we have to circulate that money. So DJ Liddy says, where do we go after we die? I had somebody when I went bike riding today. I went to the park, and some dude was asked me that same question. He came to witness to me, and it was pretty funny. But he asked me one question. He says, "Well, what do you believe about Jesus?" Why did he ask me that? I told him Jesus never existed. Well, do you believe in heaven and hell? No. Well, why? So we got into a conversation. But basically, we when we die, we go in a way to a life between lives, where first we assess the life that we just left, and we assess whether or not we accomplished the goal that we set out before we incarnated. And then once you finish that process, then you can get ready to incarnate in another life and basically start the process over again to learn different lessons. Or if you didn't accomplish and learn that lesson in the other life, then you get a chance to learn it again. So you might have been a male in the last life. The next life you might be a female, and then you get the same lesson in another way. Okay, so for the ancient Kemetians, salvation was actually the ability to be reincarnated again. You had that ability to do that. Christianity changed that to basically having salvation from hell, and that's not the truth. Let's see. And it says getting everything. Trina says getting everything for free is not good for people. It makes people. Yeah, I mean, and again, it's not self-sustaining. There's just no way you can sustain if people are not supporting each other. The community is not supporting. You can't go to a restaurant. That person is cooking food, and then you not pay them, and then at some point they have to buy the food in order to cook it to feed you. at some point they're not going to have money to buy the food. So there has to be that cycle. It has to be. Let's see. Renee says, mix my ashes with some herbs and smoke me. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Right. Be Renewed says, does one attend Harvard or a community college for free to get knowledge or a degree? Nope. They have to take out loans in order to do that. In other words, you got to pay for them. So absolutely, you got to pay. Somebody's got to pay somewhere. And if there is not people, if it's not being reciprocated, the system is going to break down at some point. And that's what happens in our communities. It ends up breaking down. So we have to change that. Yeah. Okay, and Annette Pasante says, if we can believe in a higher creator, why do we put limits on ourselves? Why do we accept death? Since there are different worlds and universes, why can't we just evolve? No, and that's a great question, and it's really our education that and our training from religion. Because religion, if you think about it, before Christianity, there was no spiritual systems that did not believe in reincarnation. But Christianity had to insert a control mechanism, and that control mechanism was what do they call that? Excommunication. They basically said that you could do something that you could get excommunicated from the faith and you go straight to hell. That was a control mechanism that scared a lot of people. So to think that a person could get reincarnated, if a person believed that, why would they worry about being excommunicated? Hell, I'm gonna go and live again. But no, but if you thought your soul was gonna get sent to hell for eternal damnation that you never get out, and you just I don't know, somebody told me about the scripture about the worm, where you just gonna be writhing like a worm in eternity, in hell. Man, that picture right there, yeah, it scared a lot of people. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to keep up with these questions here, guys. What should we do? My intuition is telling me something that's hard to accept. No excuses. They'll be present. Okay, Seymour asked a good question. See, what should I do if my intuition is telling me something that's hard to accept and put into action? If I fulfill my excuses, will the same ideal be present? So, in other words, if you accept the excuses, so this is one of the things about spirituality that is very difficult. Is that when you really start to follow your soul's call, so to speak, sometimes it might go against every rational thought that you could ever consider. And you have to decide that am I going to hang with the fear, or am I going to follow my soul's call? Now, a lot of times that soul's call you're going to be taken care of if you follow that soul call. Okay. And I'm a prime example of that, because in August, I had to make a decision. Was I going to go back to school teaching at the height of the COVID deal, or was I going to start my own business and everything? And I basically asked for a sign. And I'm a hard headed dude. I mean, it's like my guides, man, they probably doing this all day every day with me, you know. So, but I said, hey, I need a sign. I need a definite sign, and this is what I need. You know, I need to hear somewhere somehow you quit your job. And this is just doing my morning walk. This is what I was doing. So I said, I was mad. I was like, y'all need to tell me for sure if this is what I need to do. Then okay, then tell me that, and I'll do it. Well, later on, watching TV that night about 8 o'clock, I was watching a TV show, and these two ladies were sitting at the table talking at a restaurant. And one of them said to the other lady, you know, you quit your job? I was like, okay, I guess that's it. So when it came time to report back to school, I called my principal and said, hey, I'm not coming back. And I haven't looked back since. And I've been taking care of every step, and things are getting better and better. I mean, every single day. So, but I had to have the courage to take that step. You know, if I didn't have the courage and I stayed in that job, I'd be miserable right now. But now I'm enjoying life. I mean, I get to hang with you guys tonight. I get to talk with y'all. So this is like magnificent. So you have to have the courage to follow that call sometimes when logically it doesn't make sense. Logically, it didn't make sense for me to quit my job, but things have been like awesome. Tamara Lewis says, "What did the guy think when you said you didn't believe in Jesus?" Oh, he had to recalibrate. And he had to stop there for a minute. He was like, okay, well, let me ask you this. But he was cool. I mean, we didn't like get heated or anything. So we were calmly talking like I'm talking to you guys right now, you know. But he wanted to keep witnessing, and I just finally told him, I said, look, I told you in the beginning, you know, I'm okay with where I am. I appreciate you coming over, but that's it, you know. So he was wanting to tell me about his journey. I was like, nah, I'm not interested. Thank you. So I'll see you. Thank you. We bumped, and that was the end of that. So Bentley says that's true. I'm new to your work. How can I support your work? Part of it is if you're talking about financially, in any of my videos, I have the my Cash App and PayPal links. So if anybody is wanting to give, just links and just give, and it's definitely appreciated. Let's see. And man, these chats are going so fast. Yes. Yeah, and that says she asked for a sign. Yeah, I have to, Annette. So if I don't ask for a sign, and one that my stiff and hard brain can calculate, man, it whoop, passes right over me. So I miss them. So you have to be able to hear spirit. Yeah, definitely. Nickel School Kid said you have to be able to hear spirit talk to you. You have to be willing to listen, and you have to be willing to follow. And a lot of times it's subtle. But for me, it's like, man, I need to be hit over the head sometimes. It's just, but my guys know that. I mean, me and my guys, we cuss at each other. So, I mean, we have it out. Be Renewed, thank you very much. So Be Renewed gave $5. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's see the devil idea. Central Ohio, thank you. I appreciate you. $5. Thank you very much. Never made sense to me, even as a child. Still the truth. Yeah, Bentley, the devil is nothing but an excuse for people to not take responsibility for their own deal. So the background concerning me and my whole circle is this. I thought of my mother, but I know she will worry grave, isn't it? Yeah, the and Black Star Beauty, yeah, the family thing. That's man, and a lot of times they are talking to us because they want what's best for us, and from their perspective, if we don't believe in Jesus, we're going to hell. That worries them, you know. So that's why they want to try to save us a lot of times because they're worried. You know, they're worried for us. So that's really a lot of times what they're doing. You know, you keep mixing different documents. Yeah, I know. So I said I had a friend who's been trying to get me to join our church and say to me, "How do you know what the truth is if you keep mixing different doctrines?" So she said, "I felt insulted." No, I hear you. I hear you. And a lot of times they just don't understand. They just do not get it. That they just don't understand that we cannot see religion anymore like they do, and we just cannot follow it because it sickens us to the stomach. You know, once you're out of it and you're free, You can't go back. You know, it's hard. Let's see. Enra Amen says after Earth you can move to you can move to a new level definitely, and I call those a density. But you can definitely after you die, after you've reincarnated on Earth, you can, or I'm sorry, after you complete the cycle of reincarnation on Earth, then you can reincarnate into other levels. So most definitely. Yeah, Trina says I have no other choice but to ask for a sign, and I ask for them to make it plain. Yeah, absolutely. I do that, and I do that all the time. It works. It works. You can tell them what sign you want, just like I did. I told them what sign I needed, and that sign was presented to me. DJ Liddy, I thought we talked about that earlier, but you basically, when you die, you go into a life between lives. You go into a process where you basically look at your life that you just left and you assess it, and then once you finish that, then you get prepared to go into another life. So this body is just a transitory phase for us. And so we live thousands of times. Yeah, we emerge back into the universe. Now, Jason, I'm with you. I give time trying to explain to people too. Yeah, let's see. As we're getting our lessons, if someone or us do something really bad, do we stay stuck or in some possibilities go backwards? And that was Crystal Broussard asked that. And yeah, people stay stuck all the time, Crystal. And yeah, that's a great question. That's an excellent question. And that's where we see that happen all the time. Bentley James, thank you very much. So Bentley James gave $9.99. Thank you very much. But we ask a lot, or we end up staying stuck where, say, we have a family member that we can never work through the issues with, that we stay at odds with each other, maybe a mother or a father. So those are things that we don't work through, you know, for whatever reason, and we stay stuck. And if that is a major lesson that you're supposed to learn, then guess what? You're gonna go back to that lesson. Maybe you might switch places to where your mother becomes your daughter, you know, or your son in the next life. So that's the type of thing that can happen. So Nichols Kid said, I don't know about anyone else, but I don't want to reincarnate. Guess what? Nichols, you will. So unless Eugene, my brother, man, where you been? Eugene. So yeah, so that's you're going to reincarnate. That's part of the deal here. That you're not going to be able to avoid that. So even if you might not think that that's something that you want to do, but part of that is you just have to learn. You just have to learn. So notice that you can't even talk much about it. I'm okay. Let's see. Let's see. So Bentley, you said I can't talk much about what? Was that directed at me that I can't talk much about something? Thank you very much, Ray. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So Ray gave $5. Ray Martin, thank you. So James, ITC James says, when are these preachers going to stop telling us that we're going to hell? Hell, it benefits them too much. They're not going to tell us. They're not going to stop that. So the only way that is going to stop is when people break the system and they stop going to them. So it works too well, and they've honed their messages in Christianity for over 2,000 years. That's why a lot of us we don't realize how they go to seminary school to learn how to keep us in check, in a sense, mentally. They pass around the ideas, on how to do it. So they perfected their messages and they work. So a lot of times we just don't realize how we're getting worked on. We go into the fifth dimension between incarnate life. Let's see. Tamara Lewis says, "Have you heard that we go into the fifth dimension between incarnate lives?" And Tamara, I look at dimensions a little bit differently. The way that I see dimensions are, they're really states of mind. And in our physical body, there's three dimensions that we can go in and out of at any time. That's a third dimension, which is where we're really locked into the fear of what's going on in the planet, and like COVID-19 keeps a lot of people locked into third dimensional consciousness because it's something that's so fearful. Then there's the fourth dimension, which is a state where everything is okay. Okay, that the universe works in your favor. Okay, and that's just a reasoning that you have and that you know. Okay, and then the fifth dimension is where you can literally love yourself unconditionally. Okay, and when you love yourself unconditionally, then it's easy for you to extend that to other people, places, to humanity. Okay, and those dimensions can be, or those states of mind, you can go in and out of those states of mind, within seconds and minutes. So it's not a constant thing. Now you do move to a point to where you stay in fourth dimensional consciousness, and that's where, for me, I feel like what I had to do was just trust my guides. I had to stay in fourth dimensional consciousness. I couldn't be afraid that something was going to happen bad. If I quit my job. So I had to literally do things to really keep myself up. Man, I listened to music. I listened to inspirational speaking, books, just whatever I could do to keep myself at this level of understanding that, hey, the universe is okay. You know, I'm going to be all right. So I had to do. So you have to do things to keep your level up. You have to look at the world in a way that keeps your level up, your vibrational level up. Yeah, I agree. And Voice says part of living a fulfilling life is learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's true. Very true. Accept all challenges as an opportunity for growth and expansion. Well said. Well said. That's very true. Incarnate back into body. Do we not have a choice spiritually? Yeah, you always have a choice, James. You always have a choice. So the thing is that once you leave your body, there's different lessons that you're going to want to learn. So there's different experiences that you're going to want to have. So you might not, once you're in the soul world, you might not incarnate into a black body. Okay. So it just depends on what lessons that you want and what opportunities will be best for you, or how those opportunities will be best served. Is it through a man, through a female body, through a black person, a white person, an Asian person, Latin person? So how are you going to be best served? And when you're in the soul world, it's not about the pride of your race or anything like that. It's about what you're trying to accomplish so that you can grow consciously. It's a different level, and different way to think. Okay. Let's see. It says, how are we learning subconsciously, or is it subconsciously? No, you're learning consciously. You're gaining your wisdom consciously. The wisdom is being enlightened, and enlightenment means that you become consciously aware of something that you maybe were not. Okay. No, the part of the game, and I am Amura says, in part, to say one sentence, if we are to learn, why no remembrance? Are we learning subconsciously? No, part of the game is that we forget who we are as souls. Okay, so actually, when the idea that Jesus dies on the cross, The cross is actually what it takes for the four elements that it takes for a soul to incarnate into a physical body. And when it dies, the death is actually, it forgets its omnipotence. Okay, it forgets its multidimensional awareness. That's the first death. So when Jesus dies on the cross, that's literally what they're talking about. Not Jesus died, or was hung on a cross. So it's actually the journey of the soul coming into the physical. So that's what that means from the Kemetic perspective. Is there a judgment after death? There is not a judgment like so. Yes. So the short answer, but it's not a judgment of did you do wrong or did you treat people right? It's not that. It's did you accomplish the lesson that you came to learn as a soul? That's what the judgment is about. Okay. So not okay, well, we're gonna judge you and see if you're gonna go to hell or not. That's not the kind of judgment. So that's not how that is. Let's see. Tamara Lewis, have you ever experienced a past life regression? Yes. So I know that in a past life, in the 1920s, I was actually a white woman married to a rich man. And back in the 1850s, I was actually a slave, and I was having an affair with the slave master's wife, okay, who happened to be somebody that I dated in this life, okay, and who was also a very light skinned black woman. Okay, so it's like she incarnated, again, but we incarnated in different lives together. I also was an Egyptian priest, and my daughter was actually a princess, or not a princess, but she was I guess you would call it a princess. And I was an Egyptian priest in Akhenaten's court, and back way back when. So yeah, I know different lives that I've incarnated. I had somebody that I was. Barry Scott says, "How do you know?" So I had somebody that helped me with that I knew. Actually, somebody. This was years ago. That we used to have chat rooms and on Yahoo, and we would meet. We would get together and meet. And this person was very gifted, and they could tap into our consciousness. This person could literally tap into my dreams and tell me things about my dreams that I did not necessarily want to share, but a very talented individual. So, have you ever read The Law of One? No, I haven't read. I have not read The Law of One. Just never have gotten around to it. Let's see. Were they a spiritual reader? No, actually, they were a channel. So they could literally channel. They could literally channel their higher consciousness. And and I guess in a way, I mean, maybe you can call them a spiritual reader, but they were a channel. Let's see. I kind of try to easy commissionality into my family. Am I wrong for that? I need to know. DJ Lit, it's your experience, is where you are right now. So there's no right or wrong here. So you're going to experience certain things. So if that's where you are right now, you got to be who you are every day, every moment, and through being you in the moment, that's how you're going to learn your lessons. So it's not a matter of being right or wrong. It's just experience, and you got to do you when it's time to do you, So if you're at the point to where, for me, I have no desire to try to convince people about Kemetic spirituality. My desire is to create knowledge and information when people are looking, that I can serve them. But I don't want to try to change a person's mind. I'm not interested in that battle. It's too low vibrational for me. That struggle. It's just it hurts me. It pains me. So I don't like to have those debates and discussions about stuff. Me trying to change somebody's mind. I detest that. Let's see. Parents have sex and conditions to set up conditions. Submission. Yeah. So Lion says we choose our parents, ethnic groups, sex, and conditions to set up conditions to accomplish our mission. We will be born into a family that will meet our needs or create challenges. Yes, as a soul. That's exactly right. So Lion Lunch was saying that. So absolutely. Humans were created. So why are elite hiding from the world? So why are the elite hiding from? Yeah, Rocket. I don't know. I mean, the way I look at it is, they're going to do what they do. So the elite, but it's up to me to handle what I can in my life, you know, and to present the knowledge and information that I have to others that want it, you know. So I can't. I don't worry about any longer what they're doing because ultimately we have the power to create our world the way that we want to create it. Okay, plain and simple. I Heart You says, silly question. Actually, I Heart You, that is not a silly question at all. That is extremely deep. And I Heart You says, since we reincarnate, will we always have the same personality each time? That is a powerful question. Powerful question. And the answer to that question is yes, your personality travels with your soul. The personality that you are, the types of things that push and pull you, those things travel with your soul. So that's an excellent question. Beautiful question. I love it. Yeah, Kathleen, it's like using a muscle. So Kathleen Avila Reyes says, I believe the more you meditate, the more the spiritual realm opens up to you with guidance and clarity. I believe that that's very true. It's just like exercising a muscle. So the more you use it, the stronger it gets. So absolutely. So Yoli, how's it going? Says keep up the good work. Thank you very much. All right, guys, it's going on. It's going on over an hour. So I'm gonna get ready to shut it down. So thank you all. All of you guys that gave a gift, thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for being here again. You asked good questions as always. I love it. I love it. So thank you. I always have so much fun with you guys. Trigger when incarnating souls from incarnation. Yeah, past lives are triggered when voice says past lives are triggered when incarnate or interacting with souls from that incarnation. Definitely, definitely. So, all right, guys. Well, y'all have a good evening. Again, it has been extremely enjoyable. So, extremely enjoyable as always. And we'll do it again. It won't be this Saturday because my class is actually this coming Saturday. But, well, I guess we could probably do it again next Wednesday. And then we'll do another one Saturday morning. So to give you guys that want just different opportunities to interact and ask questions if you want. All right. All right, guys. Well, y'all have a great night.